You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode is the action comedy horror film Mayhem, directed by Joe Lynch and released November 10th, 2017. I did not realize it's already been that many years since this came out. Like, this still feels more recent than 2017.
I know, me too. I watched it on Shudder, I think, right after I may have gotten Shudder so I could watch this movie.
Nice.
That may have been one of the reasons why that I did it, because I really wanted to see it. I feel like it was one of Steven Yeun's first films after he left The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. See, because I feel like, it wasn't that long ago, but that was season 6 into season 7, or was it season 5 into season 6?
Season 6 into season 7.
Yeah. And then, Walking Dead is in season 11 right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first films that he did right after leaving Walking Dead. And I always loved his character on Walking Dead. Like, Glenn was always one of my favorites. But I feel like in this film, he really got to do some things that he never got to do on Walking Dead. I mean, he did a lot of climbing into wells, climbing into tight spots, doing all of that stuff. But he didn't really get to go full on like crazy. Like, he wasn't one of the people in the cast of characters that went in and, blew places up and stuff. He was not really into that. So this was like a flip side, some of the things that he did in this film.
Yeah.
For sure.
Got to let that, that mayhem out a little bit.
I feel like this movie was like The Purge meets Belko Experiment meets Fight Club and the Rage Virus of 28 Days Later. Mixed it all together in a blender, and this is what you get.
Yes. It's a lot of fun. It seems a bit of a stretch. It's kind of for like what we typically cover on this podcast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, that's fine because it's such a fun movie.
I know.
It's so great. And
you had never seen it.
No, this is the first time I'd actually watched it. It's just one I hadn't got around to. As much as I love Steven Yeun, I don't know why. This is what I think, just because it was harder to watch for a long time. And so then I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. We had actually picked to do a different movie this week, and for some reason, I just was like, no, I really want to do something that isn't, this isn't a lighthearted movie, but there were definitely some comedic moments, and I just was feeling that more than a real serious movie. So we'll do that one next week.
All right, then I guess it's, so just teasing it. We'll break into it, talk about this movie a little bit. Of course, you always have some fun behind-the-scenes stuff to start us off.
I do. Yeah. There's not a ton of information on this movie, which, it happens from time to time when I'm digging stuff up. It's like, not a lot about this. So, okay. Well, this is what I have put together, as brief as it is. So it was filmed in Belgrade, Serbia. Lynch has directed 11 films, including Wrong Turn 2, Dead End, which was actually considered one of his best movies, until this one came out, and this one kind of joined that list. He also directed The Right Snuff, which was an episode in season 2 of the anthology series Creepshow, which is available on Shudder. The budget for this movie was $2.5 million, but it was released on video on demand, so there's no box office information. It is 86 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. It was a really quick one.
It was.
Like, I remember, like, while watching it and then, like, pausing it to take notes and realizing, I was like, there's only 10 minutes left, but there's so many more things they need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what? I need more.
They managed to get it done, though.
Yeah.
They did. I really enjoyed it. Okay, Pake, you know what time it is.
It is time for IMDb to bring you a synopsis through me. And it's a quick and easy one. Very straight, quick to the point. A virus spreads through an office complex, causing white-collar workers to act out their worst impulses.
Oh, and yet they did. They definitely did that, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. A lot of different ways.
Yeah. Ugh, that virus. Yeah. I think it was called ID7.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ID7 virus it definitely wreaked some havoc in this building. And, but there was a lot more going on than just the virus. Like, there was regular corporate political structure. And I feel like we got to see a lot of that through Derek. He really introduced us to some of the, I guess, tropes, honestly, if you think about it, because, I mean, I've not personally worked with people like this, but I can see it happening in a corporate culture where people are, there's like, this person is designated as this one, like the siren, or, you know, yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, it's very political, I think, sometimes in some big companies, so I appreciated him giving us the insight into, what is it, Towers and Smythe Consulting.
Yeah. Because, the running through line, the storyline of this movie, aside from the virus causing people to just go insane, is also that the day that this happens and the whole building is locked down and quarantined with everybody in it, is also the day that he gets fired, and not for anything that he did, but literally because he was a fall guy for a mistake that the corporation made, and they just decided, well, he's the guy that we can pin all this on and it makes the most sense, so whatever, just let it be. And even before the virus really sets in on him, he's decided, no, I'm not going to take that lying down, like, we're going to fight that. And then instead of fighting it the legal way through, like, being a lawyer and who do I talk to, then thanks to the virus it becomes a lot more literal fighting it. But
yeah, he didn't make it out of the building. He made it down to, like, the lobby level, but they had closed it off so he couldn't get out.
Yep.
And he has his box of stuff, and at that point he had already turned down the severance package, which we don't know how much it was, but it sounded like it was quite a sizable severance package to basically take the fall for this situation.
Yeah, the Reaper.
Oh, yes, the Reaper. Lester
there, because that was, he was like, why would I sign this? He's like, so you could be rich?
Yes.
And he thinks about it, but he's like, also, if I sign this, I'm admitting blame for these things that the company did, and I could be disbarred. I could lose, you know, the possibility of ever being a lawyer again anywhere else. I could never get a job again. So is that money actually then worth it?
No, probably not.
To which Lester replies, well, I'll file that under N for not my problem.
I thought it was funny because he was like, Derek was freaking out on Lester, and they were talking about some different things, and he basically, you know, Derek started screaming at him, and he said, I'm only the messenger, Derek. Screaming at me is like yelling at your watch because you're late.
Yep, I have that quote written down. It's that might be my favorite quote of the movie. I have notes on other characters while we're talking about it. Yeah, Lester McGill, the Reaper, which that line is my favorite. But that's Dallas Roberts, who is another Walking Dead alum. He played Milton, the scientist that worked for the governor. I also drove by him filming something in New York City one time.
Oh, you did?
To this day, I have no idea what it was he was filming, but I was like, you know, I say drove by, I wasn't driving. We were in a cab, but I remember like we were just like riding through New York City, and our cab driver was like, if you look over there, they're filming something for a movie or TV or whatever. And it was like, oh, cool. That's Dallas Roberts. Like, I just recognized him immediately, and I was like, that's cool. Don't know what it was he was doing, but yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. He's like Mr. HR he's really been given this job of basically, he's not the one who fires them. I think he's more just like this lackey who comes downstairs and says, And yes, here is your, pack up your things in the boxes, and here is your severance package or hush money. Mm-hmm. Now move along now. And then he goes back to his desk and waits for the rest of it. Like the next one that comes along that has to be dealt with. Mm-hmm. And you know that Derek isn't the first one that they've had to take the fall, so...
Oh, yeah, you get John's, the boss, John Towers, his art skills, that him and Derek have that in common. They like to paint or draw. Derek's just a teeny bit more talented at it. But...
Yes.
But, Towers and his stick figures, they're real compelling. But yeah, I mean, that was the whole point of that. He's just like, but what we do is we just throw... But, he takes it as like somebody has to take one for the team with like somebody jumping on the bomb. But yes, more his style is we're going to take somebody and forcibly throw them on the bomb, whether they like it or not. And they've chosen Derek for this.
I liked that when Derek and Kara get upstairs, they ask his receptionist what he's, how is he? And he's drawing. And that's when they realize, like, no.
Oh, no.
Great.
Yeah. Which, again, I give a little more background on Derek because we kind of jumped right into
We
stuff.
kind of did, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, yes, he's our beloved Glenn Rhee from Walking Dead. We mentioned that.
Yes.
I also really love a lot of the things that he's done since. We talked about, I missed out on this movie the first time around, but, I mean, he got his first freaking Oscar nomination last year with Minari.
I know.
Which was so good. I really liked Minari a lot. And then also, he's been doing a lot of voice acting in animation.
I've heard that
including,
story. Yes.
2 great animated series he did. Invincible on Amazon Prime. He's like starring in that. And then Final Space, which has been shopped around. It was on TNT or TBS, and then it was on Adult Swim, and then it's moved around, and it's about to start its final season. Mm-hmm. It's, getting shut down after this season, so I think they only got 3 seasons, but he does a voice in there, one of like a main character, and yeah, so it's been really cool hearing his voice around in different things that I've liked watching. So
he's been in some movie, like the Netflix had a film called Okja, which was actually
was
pretty
really
good. He was also in a Korean film called Burning that I have not seen, but I want to, and he does not play a pleasant person in it. He plays someone quite maniacal. And I want to see it because I can't imagine him playing someone like that, really.
Yeah, I need to check that out, too. I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of good things about that. Because, I mean, his character in this movie is it's kind of a mix. Like, again, blame the virus for that, the loophole. But, man, he starts off, he's a bright-eyed young businessman who completely soulless and dead to the world after that long 6 months that he's worked here.
One of my notes is we see him as this fresh-faced guy who in 6 months becomes an overworked corporate lackey.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of made it, but then he gets all the promotions and he gets all the money and the fancy stuff. And he's, it turns him into kind of an asshole. An asshole for good in some cases. Like we see the bad side of it where he's like with Melanie. And where she's just like, look, you can help me. And he's like, but I don't wanna. Like we get that like bad side of him. But then also like there's the douchey guy who's yelling at the girl at the desk.
Yeah.
And like he straight up just like, hey, come over here. And then just like calmly, just smug, which I did love that asshole side of him.
Oh my gosh.
Just to show him the video of him like cheating on his wife with somebody there in the office. And he's just like, just blackmails him with him. It's like, yeah, is that you? Oh, that is you. And then he's like, where did you get that? And he's like, oh, I wish I would have taken down this exact line. He's like, I just searched.
I Googled small dick dude.
Yeah.
That was one of the things.
Yeah, he said something to him, but then what I did take from that was he goes, and I will sell this to your wife for half of what she'll get out of the divorce settlement. And he's like, damn, that is...
That was great. I loved that. I love that because that, to me, that was one of the first things we saw from him. And I thought, oh, he's not a bad guy, even though, he's probably been through the ringer in the 6 months. I mean, because we see him looking like he's exhausted. Mm-hmm. And then we see him coming into work and he saves the day for the girl at the desk, who ends up giving him dirt on other things. Like, she has talked to him about different things. Oh, I heard that this is going down.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. So his, pleasantries and being nice to people pay off in some ways.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to share information with him about what's going on. So he did get a heads up so he could kind of try to get ahead of it. Yeah. But it was almost impossible with Kara the siren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, so we see him kind of working his way up and things are going pretty good for him. But then, it doesn't last because things start to unravel for him professionally as he's starting to get, set up and become the fall guy for this situation. And the virus is spreading through the office at the same time. And we're starting to see little bits and pieces where people have their red eyes.
Yeah. Their eyes get red and then they start getting really aggressive and just, not like themselves. They've disconnected with the right and wrong part of their brain and decision making, and they're just beating people up, which is why I said Fight Club.
Yeah.
When I was talking about the blender mashup of the movies, because there was a lot of fighting. Like, everywhere you went, somebody was punching someone else or punching themselves. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like that work environment does breed a lot of pent-up aggression and frustration.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. But we did learn, we learned more about him. He's got these student loans that he's got to pay off, and he really just wants a seat at the big kids' table. But he's also thinking that he's starting to lose himself as he's, ascending to these, via these promotions.
Mm-hmm. Where he's yelling at people about where's my mug and blowing his sister off for her birthday again, it seems like probably,
Yeah, over and over again.
And so, but at least he sees that he doesn't like where that's heading. He just feels like he has to.
Yeah. He's been in it for 6 months. It's a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then whenever he does get screwed over, that's where you start seeing, even before he gets infected, I was like, I actually have to admire him because he's not just going to back down or roll over with this. Mm-hmm. He's not going to allow it, and he's not going to go down without a fight. Like I said, it metaphorical that turns into literal. But yeah, he goes straight to Kara. Mm-hmm. And he's like, people are scared of her and she's a big deal, but I'm going to straight up tell her to her face, no, you're not going to do this to me. And then he gets up there and she took his fucking mug, so
that made it worse.
That's going to make he's really going to double down now.
Yeah. I love the banter that they had where they were talking about mommy and daddy.
Uh-huh.
Mommy did this and daddy did this, and yeah, it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. It's like, well, mommy's the one that's calling the shots. Well, mommy's a major bitch, and that's why she's the one that calls the shots.
Yeah. And all while this is going on, the infection is spreading, so we haven't seen Derek, lose it yet. He's still kept himself together, even though he did yell at Miles, his assistant. Mm-hmm. We've seen him kind of keep it together. So you still see the good. You can still see that. He hasn't shown us any aggression yet. Only that he's kind of, quick to banter with people if he needs to, he did with Kara. And he can draw. Well, I think his painting skills are actually much better than his stick figures, but he did make an effort with that. So, you have to give him that.
Yeah, he went up to the boss, went to John Towers with the idea that, I'm going to sell Kara out, people are going to know that, oh, no, Kara was the one that was behind all this. And he's like, yep, see, I figured it out. She screwed me over. And John Towers is like, yeah, I know. I'm the one that told her to do it, probably. It's...
Yes. Absolutely. And he acts like he's going to listen to him, but he doesn't. Mm-hmm. He takes in what's said to him, and then he's just like, no, we're going to do what I want. You're going to take the fall, and that's going to be the ending, Mm-hmm. And that's what you get.
Yep. Fired, doesn't want to take the severance package, but he's packed up his boxes and he's headed out anyway, and that is when the virus has spread enough to where the SWAT team and the CDC and everybody else is involved, and they're like, yep, nope, we're locking this whole place down in quarantine, but we have this like whatever, like they put some kind of antidote into the ventilation system of the building. It's like, it's going to take 8 hours, but then everybody will be cured and then we can let you out. And so it's like, so for the next 8 hours, everybody's just locked in there and you're on your own. Good luck.
Yeah. Powers didn't take that very well. He didn't want to be on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. He was a very complex character, I think. But in some ways, not at all, because it was about money to him. Everything was about money. But he would sell out anybody. I mean, at one point, he's talking. Kara has, the key card to get to a different floor, like upstairs. And he's like, I'll give you that promotion. We have to take care of each other. We have to protect each other, or you have to protect me. You must protect those above you.
Mm-hmm.
And promises to make her a partner. And she agrees to it. And then I laughed at what happened. The way she treated her assistant. Oh my God.
Meg!
Meg!
Get in here, Meg, get in here. Yeah, Meg, get in here.
We haven't even talked about Melanie that much.
Melanie was great. I love Samara Weaving so much.
She's so good.
But yeah, but back to Derek on that, everything's, now that he's locked in here, that's when the infection takes hold on him. Because we do see when he gets infected by drinking the water. We kind of noticed, so we've been told early on, like, oh, there's a ticking time bomb. It's going to happen to him too. But that's kind of everything boils over. And when he snaps, he makes that decision. He's like, well, all of this is the fault of John Towers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to work my way to him. And we're going to discuss this. Whether with words or with fists, we're going to make this,
yes.
We're going to take care of this.
Or golf clubs and wrenches.
And of course, that's when we meet the Bull.
Oh, God.
Just the strong arm who, instead of going up to Towers, we go down to the basement where the Bull is supposed to take care of Derek, incapacitate him. And things go badly. Ewan, which I guess was kind of
his BFF.
Yep.
Yeah,
one of his friends working there ends up dying, and all it does is just set Derek off more, and that's where he gets met back up with Melanie, who, instead of, she was going to put up her own fight after Derek refused to help her, and they ended up, then the quarantine had happened, so they couldn't throw her out, so they just locked her up down somewhere else, and that's where they put Derek. So then they team up, where it's just like, we're just going to burn this whole place down. Are you in it with me? I know I screwed you over, and you're mad at me, but can I make it up to you by helping both of us get what we want?
Yes.
I'm going to use this loophole, and we're going to fuck some shit up.
Yes. And they did. It was so great.
Yeah. And it's just, it leads to my favorite thing, the phone call. One of my favorite moments. The phone call where he calls the Vandecor CEO, just drops all of the ball on him. Just like, oh yeah, that file that we're supposed to keep secret. Yeah, here's how they screwed up. Just like, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody else down with me. Here we go. I don't have anything to lose at this point. And I just love, he's able, even infected, he's able to keep his cool and calm while he's on that phone call. It's the best. Yes, I believe TSC dropped the ball. And then defecated on the ball. And then sodomized the ball. Sir.
Yes. And I love how the guy from Vandercorp just ends it with, and I'm tearing up your latest invoice, and he rips it in half, and you could tell that Towers was having a fit.
Oh man, and then he just hangs up on him, and then I love, again, then Derek, after the phone call, just hangs up, he goes, oh, that went well.
Yeah. I mean, he figured out what to do. It looked honestly like he had a box of phone parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you going to make...
That's what he said.
Frankenphone. How are you going to make that work down there? There's nothing there to make it work. I don't understand. But he did, and it worked, and it was fun. And I think at that point, Melanie started to think, okay, all right, this might be okay. This might work.
This guy's capable. And then that's where this movie takes, like, this turn where I really love it, because those who know, I've only said it 7,000 times on this podcast, Scott Pilgrim being my favorite movie, and the reason is it's got this video game theme feel to it. And this movie takes that kind of direction, and that's what I love, because it's like, they literally have to make that plan. It's like, okay, well, we need to get to the Reaper so we can get his card, so then we can get up to level 2 or level 7, to get Kara's so we can get her card. And then we need her card so we can get up to towers. And so it becomes this, there's literal levels, floors in the building, and like a video game. Like, it was like, we have to level up, we have to fight this boss to get to this boss, and then we get to the boss of the game. And got to get to the Reaper, and then if we defeat the Reaper and get his key, then we take that key and we unlock the level to fight the Siren, and then we get the Siren's key and we face the boss. And so it's like whole video game feel to it, and I love that. And it was like the security guards and like enemies he has to fight along the way.
I loved it when he was with he and Melanie were on the floor where Kara was, and she had like her minions around her.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept going back to a painting he was doing of the minions. Like, I don't even know when that was, but I'm assuming after. I liked that. I just liked the face-off at that point. I thought it was cool.
Which those people, Towers, it's one thing that is a little bit of a nitpick. It's like, they set this thing up and then they didn't really do much with it other than that scene. But we get like a call. Towers makes a call. He's putting a bounty out on Derek.
Yes.
He was like, somebody take this guy out and I'll pay you whatever you want. And then they don't ever follow that up other than like that scene where you see a bunch of other people around. But then like it doesn't become a thing where like he's being ambushed at every turn, which I was kind of thinking would happen, was kind of hoping, but it was like, no, but it was just, it turned into one scene and that was it. But it was still a lot of fun. I loved another great line while getting the key card, while defeating the Reaper. Yeah, it's like, do you know what will happen if I give you this key card? And I said it before he even said it. I knew it was coming, and I loved it, where he goes, well, file that under N.
Under N.
For not my fucking problem.
Yeah,
like,
I loved that. I also like the interaction that Melanie and Derek had, where she's looking at him, he offers to help her up, and she's like, I don't need your help. And he just very calmly and sweetly says, but I need yours.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, fuck you. And he says, fuck you after. And I just was like, yep, this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Yeah. It's going to be wonderful. I love, too, when he quoted her, no one raindrop thinks it caused the flood, which is a quote that she did it when she first met him.
Yeah.
When they were meeting about the house that was in foreclosure. Yeah,
because she's like, why can't you help me with this? And he's like, well, this is above what I'm capable of doing. He was like, I'm sorry, but, I'm not the one who's to blame for this. You'll have to take that up with somebody higher up. And that's when she uses that line on him.
Yeah. I liked it. And I liked that, he used it when he was talking with, my God, do you know I was going to call him Milton? Lester. So when he was talking with Lester, he uses those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And when, it's like it's clicking in his head. What he's done for work, how it's affected people. And he's getting in touch with himself in a good way. Because I don't think he was a bad guy. He's not a bad guy that needed to have an arc to be a good guy. He was a good guy who was mired down in a job that he wanted because he wanted a seat at the table. And when you get what you've always wanted, you may find it's not what you thought it was. And I think he was starting to realize that all the things he wanted, he was not, they weren't going to make him happy. I also loved it when Melanie was fighting to keep Lester off her, and Derek just looks at her and says, extreme measures, and she grabs the saw. It's like, okay, this is great. I love this. So good. I feel like the dialogue was actually, is it Oscar-worthy dialogue? No. But it is fun. It is fun and all get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I had a blast watching this. But yeah, you said, Lester doesn't want to make it easy. He stabs Derek's hand into the table.
Ugh.
Which was rough. Jumps on Melanie. And then, gets the power saw to the chest for his trouble. Bye-bye. Level 2.
Bye. We're going to the next level. Which is where we meet, Kara, her minions, and the psychologist phones in.
Poor Mark, the therapist. He never stood a chance.
No.
There was so why don't you just calm down? He's like, you know what? Yeah, okay. All
right.
And now I'm going to kill a bunch of people. Got it. And he's like, no, that's not where I was going. He's like, thanks so much for your help, Mark. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. I love that he asks him, how are you, how are you feeling? You're affected by the virus. And he says, I feel like taking my clothes off and doing extraordinary amounts of property damage. And I want to scream, fuck, twist limbs, break bones. I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, okay, yeah. Oops. Sorry, Mark. Not going to work. You've called at the wrong time. And it's funny, in the aftermath, he is still on the phone.
Is anybody there?
No. They've given up. They've moved on to the next level.
Yep.
They're moving on to the next level. And it was also funny because I felt, Meg being Kara's assistant goes through all this shit and all these demands, but she ended up with the last laugh, although maybe not because I think she ended up dead too.
Yeah.
But they knew
she ended up killing Kara and cutting her tongue out. Because that was the interesting thing is like with Derek, it's like, all right, we defeated the next boss basically. And it was like, but I didn't actually have to do anything. Meg did it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because the folks upstairs realized that Kara would probably not keep their secret or keep the key card. And so they had a backup plan and they actually offered Meg a promotion if she would destroy it. Mm-hmm. So she put it in the microwave.
Yep. And yeah, Kara's fate was sealed though the second she broke the mug. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's done for.
That's over.
And then again, Melanie's just having a blast with the whole, like, just watching everything going down, just giggling. And it's like, man.
I loved her right from the start because she was so ballsy sitting in that chair right at the beginning. And she's not getting the answer she wants. So she lights up a cigarette, even though she's not supposed to smoke in there. And I loved that. Because she was just really ballsy. And she was the entire time. And when they were down in the basement, like, gathering supplies, which turned out to be tools like wrenches and screwdrivers and all sorts of other appropriate items,
awesome
I guess.
Nail gun.
Oh, my gosh. And so he's just wondering they were just having conversation about, how are we going to get up there and all these things. And he starts telling her about the things they're going to have to do. And she's like, so I'll bring more nails.
Yep.
Because she was down with the nail gun.
Mm-hmm.
She loved that. So I thought it was fun.
Level 3. Right. Yeah, because now they're like, okay, we got to work our way up. They can't get the key card from Kara because it's
destroyed.
Been microwaved.
So they meet another character who I enjoyed, even though we only saw him for a very short time.
Yeah.
And that was Ray in IT.
Ray, the IT guy, played by Joe Lynch, the director.
Of course. Yes.
Which is awesome. I loved how he's like, we're going to need you to hack into somebody's computer. He's like, oh, yeah, because I need Interpol off my back, too. So, he's like, I'm not going to do this. And then it was like, it's Irene Smythe. And he was, oh, fuck her. And he's just immediately in it. It's like...
So he goes from being crazy and beating a keyboard to death, basically. They come in and he sits down and starts, getting to work and having Irene Smythe install a patch. That was really clever. It deleted her hard drive, which was awesome. And then at one point he was questioning things and Melanie takes the hammer and puts it on his shoulder. And that just kind of got him right back in the mood to take care of things. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was great. I liked Ray. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We didn't see him very long, but he was good.
But use the IT and the hacking to blackmail Irene to bring Derek her key card or lose all of her work she's ever done for this company. Mm-hmm. And so she goes through with it. She has kind of her own backup plan, but not going to work. Again, that's just something I love about Derek is, he makes that point is like, don't try to get the upper hand on the people who make less than you. Because like what he says, something is like the intelligence is kind of like inverse.
It's skewed, yeah.
From the importance of people here a lot of the times. The people that you have, like the IT guy who obviously has been complaining about having no budget and being stuck in this little room. He's probably the smartest guy in that building, and yet he's bottom of the totem pole.
Little room. Yeah.
And so it's
a basement room.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of how it works here. So he's like, you're trying to pull this stuff on me. It's like, I obviously thought you were going to do that. So I'm just going to turn it right back around on you.
He was so smart. I think this was a great vehicle for Steven Yeun after, 6 full seasons on The Walking Dead on a serious show. I feel like this was a great vehicle for him to kind of break out of the Glenn mode. Even though I loved Glenn, I feel like this was a great way for him to break out of that role and start to show that he had a lot more that he could do.
Yeah. Irene sicks the bull back on him. I thought he had beaten the bull up in the basement.
No, it was a different guy. Bull's buddy.
Yeah.
The bull's buddy.
So I was like, oh, no, so he's still here. But then, no, Derek takes care of that with his little baby screwdriver. Like, he pulls it out, and he's like, I guess I'm fighting with this. He's like, I'm accepting that. But yeah, adios, Senor Toro. And Derek's taste buds for maybe the rest of forever, because
oh my gosh,
pepper spray.
How bold was that?
Has got to be muy caliente.
Yeah.
I like spicy, but
yeah,
no, not that.
Let's just add a little pepper spray to your meal tonight. No, I don't think so. But it was smart. I mean, what he did was smart. He spit it back in his eyes, and that worked.
And then remembered what he used to do as Glenn and just took stabbed something in the head with a screwdriver.
Yep, it works. Got to use those skills, those zombie killing skills.
Yep. And so, Bull is taken care of officially. And then Irene decides to try to use the little bit of snake-like, corporate stuff that might still be there for Derek. And at first I was really surprised because I thought he sold out Melanie. I was like, I'm surprised he would do this. And then when the kiss came, I was like, there's a plan there. There's a plan. It was nice.
Yeah.
Kind of unscrewed the stuff and gave her a way to escape. And then distract Irene long enough with her punching in the code in the elevator for him to where Melanie can get out and do her thing.
Yes, and she did. We didn't get to see all of it, but we got to see enough. Yeah. Melanie took care of her.
And then Derek was in the elevator and on the way up.
Yep. To the roof. To the top. To the penthouse. To the top of the building. To the glass ceiling, basically.
Yeah. And he does. He makes it there. Has his face-off with Towers. His terms of surrender. Which I was like, because Derek wants anything to do with this guy or this company ever again after this situation. Exactly. Sure, totally.
No, he wanted, you could tell Derek was ready for a face-off. He had his wrench. He was ready. Don't underestimate someone who has a wrench, even if you have a golf club.
Which, that golf club has to fucking hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, I don't. Ugh.
But yeah, he's, kind of has that face off. He's like, nope, I'm not signing this thing, and we'll take care of John Towers. Towers is toppled. With no help from his fellow board members. Or really, I guess, the board members are what helped topple him.
They did. They all gave the universal symbol of their vote, which is thumb across the throat.
He's gone. And then, happy ending for Derek for the most part. As happy as, a story where you just murdered a bunch of people can be.
He got to be the lead of the company. Like, he got to be the president.
He got offered the big job at the seat at the big kids table he wanted. He got offered John's job after he threw him down the stairs. And he takes the job. Just long enough to fix Melanie's housing situation and then immediately resigns because he's done with this bullshit.
Yeah, he's had enough. Because, I mean, like I said earlier, sometimes what you think you want, when you get it, it's not what you thought it was.
Yeah.
And it can be an eye-opening experience and very disappointing, especially if you've worked really hard for something and then realize that, this doesn't make me feel the way I thought it would.
Good, because
And
now
that's
he
just-
has more time for Melanie and
for Melanie and
his
painting.
art classes. So yeah.
Yeah. And he seems to be a pretty good artist.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how we kept getting like flashes of like the stuff he was working on after the fact throughout the movie. It's really cool.
I liked it too. I thought it was a nice touch. And the paintings were real. I mean, they were tied into exactly what was happening, and they were really well done. So I enjoyed that.
All right. Well, that is all my notes on Derek, and I kind of threw in a bunch of other notes about other characters in that conversation because it was kind of it's Tomorrow War again, where everything really does kind of focus around one main character with some others getting their moments. Of course, Melanie gets a lot of her great moments. So again, Samara Weaving is just awesome. I just love the way that her delivery on stuff. She plays slightly unhinged really well.
She does.
I love when they're guarding the elevators in case Kara tries to come down, and there's like this guy, she's got the nail gun, and this other guy just comes running up, and she just points at him and goes, "Nope, other way, asshole." Yeah, there you go. Like,
I loved her in a movie called Ready or Not.
That one's a great one.
She was so like, she wasn't unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of pushed her over the edge, and she just brought out her inner badass and took care of the situation. And I feel like she did that here too. Like we never really got a deep enough story about why this house was so important, but I'm assuming it had to do with a family. It had to do with her and her family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as much information I feel like we got.
Yeah.
So we knew it was important for her. And Derek carried that letter, that paperwork, like the whole way through the movie.
Yeah. Because that's what really kind of is like, well, Irene's the one that can change this.
Mm-hmm.
So, come with me and we'll make that happen because I'm getting up to the top. We're talking to these people. And of course, Irene refuses to do it, which is so dumb in retrospect. You're like, you don't like negotiate with people in a situation like this. You do what they tell you. And didn't turn out well, but of course she wasn't going to do it. And it's like, well, then we need John Towers to sign it. And then when he's not going to, well, I guess we just have to take him out of the equation and take his job, and then I could sign it. I love
all
that.
These different levels. You have to take out the big boss. It sounds an awful lot like Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Brothers.
Yes. But then,
but I don't know that Towers was Bowser.
No. Mm-mm. Again, I say another favorite moment. There's a few favorite moments in this movie, but God, the music conversation. Also, while they're right there and watching those elevators, just right up my alley. I love just the conversation about music. But Melanie's picks her 3 bands, and I was like, "Where is she gonna go with this?" And Motorhead, DRI, and Anthrax. I was like, I like her. Those are some great choices. Because we first time we see her when Derek wakes up in that little basement area where they were holding them. And like we see her with her headphones in and she's just pacing back and forth, jamming death metal. And, she's just, I was like, Samara Weaving jamming to death metal is something I didn't know I needed, but I'm glad
now
it's
you
in my
have
life.
it. Yes, exactly. And remember, it's only early Anthrax, not the later stuff.
Yeah,
she said very early
stuff.
Anthrax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, I love that. And then the Dave Matthews bit from there was just hilarious. That whole conversation.
Yeah. They were fun. I think they warmed up to each other. And I guess it was the virus that caused them to get so angry that they decided to sleep together.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of happened too. And it was just, it was like, okay.
Well, that's the thing, that the red eye virus is,
takes away inhibitions.
All inhibitions aside, emotions fully take over. So all of the anger and the horniness are set to full blast. That's just, that's how it goes. So we see with Kara, when we first see her with the red eye, but she's still yelling at Meg and stuff. And I was like, I feel like she'd be pulling all the same stuff regardless, whether she had it or not. I think she's it didn't really change her much. And I even like Ray, the IT guy's like line about like Irene is like, I actually think when she's infected with the virus, she's nicer than she usually was.
I know. She was such a bitch. Man.
But yeah, that's all of my Melanie notes. I don't know if you have anything extra on her.
Let's see. No. Yeah. I liked when I already mentioned that I like when she said, so I'll bring more nails. Mm-hmm. And I thought she was really ballsy. So, yeah. No, I don't have anything else on her.
Yeah. Let's say with John Towers, I've talked about pretty much all my notes on him earlier, other than just the way that the virus affected him. I thought was really interesting because his version of his emotions taking over is him taking pleasure in like the bull torturing Derek and you know,
a lot of sadisticness.
Sadistic is a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, when Ewan is killed by accident, he's mad about that because, as he says, that's a lot of billable hours to find a replacement.
Because it was about money with him. Like, it really was all about money.
Yeah. But then he's the one that really brings up this whole loophole, the legal loophole of, you know, well, whatever you do while you're infected with the virus, you can't be held liable for. So,
which his firm is the reason why that's in existence anyway.
Right.
It's because they got that guy named Neville Reed off. And the reason that Derek got the promotion and has moved up the way he has is because he found the loophole.
Right. And so they both take advantage of it a lot in this movie. But with Towers, I was like, it's kind of screwed up that he's knowingly okay with murdering people. Like, it's not like, oh, I didn't know. But like, he's taken it that extra step where he's like, oh no, I know what I'm doing and I'm okay with it because the loophole is there. Yeah. And him being infected with it comes out in this sadistic way of it is heightened to the realization of the loophole. And so he's taking more pleasure and like sadistic joy in the fact that he can take advantage of the loophole. Like, that's his way of doing that.
He knew that. Yeah, he knew that. He knew exactly. He knew that they were going to get off, so it was not, you know, he didn't care. Mm-hmm. So he was free to be as crazy and sadistic as he wanted to be. I did laugh, though, when he's holding on to that golf club and he just looks at Derek and says, mine's bigger, mine's always bigger. And all I could think is the bigger they are, the harder they fall, because Derek knocks him over. Mm-hmm. And he goes all the way to the floor. The first floor from the penthouse or the top floor glass ceiling place where all the 9 were hanging out with John Towers.
That is, I had notes on other characters, but I just kind of sprinkled those in as we talk.
So. Yeah, I feel like we've done a good job with the characters. I feel like, you know, this wasn't a deep movie that makes you have to get retrospective and dig into. You can watch this and enjoy it, but also it's not going to require you to think too much.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes movies like that are needed. That's why this week I just said, I know we were supposed to cover a different movie, but let's cover this one because I'm feeling something with a little more humor for this week. So I thought it was a good one.
Definitely going to have to rewatch this one at times because, it's a great, just have it on and just enjoy what's going on. It's wild. It's a wild ride.
I feel like it's a good background movie too, because you can always walk away and come back and something crazy's happening. Like, you don't have to pay that close attention. There's not going to be a quiz at the end. I feel like sometimes with movies, they're so intense and there's so much you have to pay attention to that will tie into later things. And there's definitely a place for those movies and I love them, but this movie is not like that. And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think even like other notes. I don't have any other notes really at all other than just, so we had a little section about like ID7 and the virus itself, but like I talked about most of that. Other, like when the movie first started, I was like, oh, okay, great. Virus stuff, because I don't get enough of that already in real life and like other shows that I'm covering on like Strange Indeed. I was like, oh god, we just still doing this, but luckily it's a small bit. Like, it's the red eye virus there. It's important enough to the plot of the movie as to why these things are happening, but it's not a focal point necessarily.
They're not trying to find out why it happened, how it happened. I mean, they already know all the information. They talked about Des Moines and 18 months ago, and there'd been 1,000 outbreaks in the U.S. There had been 1,000 outbreaks globally, and half in the U.S. It's not lethal, but right. People. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. I think. I'd agree with that.
And let me guess, half of those were in the South.
No, they didn't dig that deep into it.
And I live in Texas, so I can say that.
Yeah, it's not lethal, but people do kill when they get on it, which is why they were talking about this, why it's an issue. I do think it was funny that Towers he was surprised that there were detection devices in his building.
Right.
And the CDC lady's like, nope, those are put in buildings. We were allowed to put those in after that first original outbreak.
Yeah.
And I thought, it was kind of interesting because it affected people in different ways. Like, we know that it makes us, the stress hormone levels rise. It blocks neuropaths. It basically throws your brain off balance. And the balance between your emotions and reason that keeps you from doing stupid things, like punching your boss, punching your coworkers, having sex on a table in front of everyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of emotional hijacking, I guess, is one of the things that they use to describe it. And I think, it described it quite well, because those were the types of things. And those were things that I was able to pull from the movie to kind of frame the story of this is what the virus does. And, they were going to have to quarantine for 8 hours. And then we just really watched pandemonium ensue in that building.
Oh, yeah. There's just, they gave them free reign to just do some ridiculous shit, which was great. One that I had to, note is while Derek is filming that first video for Towers and, the 9, there's a mail cart behind him, which I'm pretty sure is just full of intestines. For some reason, somebody went wild. There's also some people banging on a desk behind him, but that's normal, right? So it's whatever.
Yeah, that's what happens in the office. Yeah.
But the intestine cart, and I was like, oh, is that just going to be a funny little thing that I happen to notice? But then it does come back because that's the one that he sets on fire at the end of that video. And I'm just like, what is happening in this office?
You don't know what's going on in the most wonderful way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it would be a fun one, and I was hoping that you would be on board with it once you watched it, because I thought, I think this is a Pake movie. I think he'll like it.
For sure.
I think it'll be fun. Be a fun conversation. I like to, at the beginning, when Derek is doing, a voiceover, when Derek's doing the voiceover, and he just talks about, basic human dignity takes a sick leave. I'm like, yep, okay. That's kind of what happened. People went crazy. They all did different things and reacted in different ways, and it depended on who you were and who you were as a person.
Yeah.
I think that determined kind of which direction you went in. So some people who are cutthroat like Kara, who knows? She didn't seem to change very much. It seemed like she was just the same as usual. So, and then other people were affected, really affected, beating each other up and lighting people on fire and all sorts of madness. I mean, it was, it was crazy.
Yeah. Luckily, there were no guns in the office.
No.
Because that was the thing, is because they mentioned that, where Tower's like, why can't you just send somebody in here to get Derek so you can save me? Because he's made it clear. He's sending me these videos. He's trying to make his way to the top to kill me. So send your officers in to take him out. And the CDC lady's like, yes, because with that virus in there right now, we need to send a bunch of SWAT team members with guns inside to where other people could overtake them and take their guns, or they get infected, or that's not going to happen.
No, not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. I did also like the ending where Derek just basically says, paint your own path to success in work, love, and life before it's too fucking late.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is advice everyone should take all of the time.
For sure.
That was a great takeaway from this movie.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Well, like I said, that is all of my notes. I don't know if you have anything.
No, that was everything. I kind of sprinkled everything in.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Awesome. Do you have any extra fun production notes? I know you'll do a little deeper dive into some of that stuff.
Yes. One thing I have to bring up, and I didn't put it in my original notes, but it's something that I have to bring up, is when Derek is showing that guy the video of the sex that was going on in the office, that was actually people having sex.
Oh.
One of the actors and actresses were in a relationship, and they had sex.
All right.
I thought that was kind of really going for it with art, I guess, trying to showcase their skills. So there's that. When Joe Lynch wanted to film Mayhem, he wanted to do it in one location, so he had a budget, and he wanted to make sure that wherever they filmed, they could do the whole thing there. So he tried a couple of other locations, like Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Vancouver, but they couldn't give him the amount of time there for the money that he was willing to spend, so they ended up in Belgrade, Serbia. The first person that was cast in this film was Stephen Yeun. Stephen Brand, who played John Towers, was the last person cast. The office building in the film, on the inside, only had 3 floors, and John Towers' office was the last set that was built for the film. The conversation, one of Pake's favorite conversations in the movie, the conversation between Derek and Melanie about Dave Matthews Band wasn't in the original script. So that was an ad-lib, I guess.
I love it.
The idea to shoot the opening sequence in black and white came around at the last minute. They came up with the idea to do that. Of course, we get that lovely Wilhelm scream when Towers is falling.
Was it? I think it was a little modified, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Because I was trying to think, because I heard it and I was like, was that a Wilhelm? I was like, it was a little different. Like they might have done something a little different with it to not make it sound exactly like one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Dallas Roberts and Stephen Yeun both starred in Walking Dead. We already mentioned that. And originally, Bear McCreary, who is also involved with The Walking Dead, was going to compose the score for the movie, but he did not end up doing it.
I wonder what that would have... It probably would have been great, because everything Bear McCreary does is great.
I know, and I feel like we always pick movies that he's done. I feel like I need to go look at the list of all of the movies he's done, because I think we've covered a bunch of them.
Yeah.
On the podcast.
His name has come up quite a bit.
Yeah. He's been involved with a lot of the movies, so... Yeah, so that's really all I have for production notes. I'm glad that you liked it. I was hoping that you would. I thought it would be right up your alley, but sometimes I don't know.
You know me well enough. You were right. Trust your instincts.
I really should, because I feel like I can pick some good ones.
Yeah.
When we're it's funny because I feel like most of the time when we schedule what movies we're going to talk about, I feel like the movies that we really need to cover at that time are perfect for that time. Like, depending on what's going on outside of the podcast life.
Yeah.
There are things going on. We usually end up covering a movie just when we need to. It's like, oh, I'm so glad we picked this one for this week because all this is going on and this is the perfect thing to like hone in on during a crazy time.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite as crazy as that movie, though. I mean, none of that. I can't imagine. I work in an office building that has 4 floors and I wouldn't want to think about something crazy happening like that.
Oof, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, man.
Every week.
What could that be?
That is the feedback phone. You know what it is.
Did I already forget in the past week? No.
No.
All right, well, we better answer it and see what people have to say.
I hope they liked it as much as we did.
All right, we have a little bit of feedback this week, not like we had last week. What's up, guys? Why y'all slacking? I'm just kidding. We always love any little bit that we can get. And of course, coming through for us, our OGs, our regulars. Always glad to hear from you. On Twitter, we have from Tony. She has to say about Mayhem right here this week. It has been a long time since I've seen it. I love Steven Yeun, and he is a badass in this movie. I wish I could remember more. I'll try to find it, so at least I won't be lost when I listen to your coverage. His co-star is great, too. She has a great movie called Ready or Not. Yes.
Yes.
That is Samara Weaving, of course, as we mentioned. I think we mentioned... Did we mention Ready or Not during our coverage?
I think we did. Yeah. I feel like we might have. She's great. I feel like whatever she's in, she does such a fantastic job.
Yeah, and I think that movie will be on the docket for the future at some point.
Yes.
We might.
I think so, too. It has to be. We have to talk about that one. We have to. There are so many great things. I feel like it's going to be another fun conversation, much like the one when we recorded this podcast.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, we do have a voicemail this week from Steve Brown. Is he live, Steving? Is he not? We'll have to see.
We never know.
Drum roll, please.
Here it comes.
All right, Pake and Daphne, this is Steve, and this is Mayhem. Yeah. I know nothing about this title.
And that is apparently as far as I got in this movie. So, I apologize. I may try to watch it again in the future. I just, there's been a lot going on this week, but, it was so great to see you guys a couple weeks ago. Was it? Yeah, a couple weeks ago. And, can't wait, for the next one. And again, I will go back and watch this movie at some point. I've still got to do Halloween Kills as well, but appreciate you guys' podcast and can't wait to hear it. Talk to you later.
Wow, Steve, it sounds like in a couple of weeks, we're going to have like a full-on Steve live Steving feedback session. You have to do Halloween Kills, and now you have to do Mayhem.
We may just have a whole extra episode of live Steving, of all the movies that he's trying to catch up on.
Yes.
Hey, it's a lot, because you do this for like multiple other podcasts. I don't know how you do it. You're a freaking legend, Steve.
Yes, you are.
So to reach out to us and give us some love anyway, even when you haven't seen the movie, been able to make it through it this week, that's okay. We always just love to be loved and share love and give love and have love. And
it was fantastic to see you a couple of weeks ago, Steve, and I'm looking forward to the next one as well. If you'd like to send in feedback or a live Steving, but it wouldn't be live Steving if you send it in unless your name is Steve, and then I don't know how that would work. Live Steving too? Yeah, I'm not sure how it would work.
Just be live you. Be live yourself.
Be live yourself. I agree. To submit your theories or feedback, you can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/runforyourlivespodcast. You can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at RFYL Podcast on Twitter. Send us a message on Instagram. Run for Your Lives Podcast is our handle. If you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, pretty much all the other podcast players, including YouTube. Go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links you're ever going to need and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that's the best way to share the love. And Pake's already said that we love here. Mm-hmm. And to get us out there even more, we appreciate it.
Absolutely, we do. And speaking of sharing the love, go ahead and give a couple shout outs to other podcasts in our little podcast universe here. What's going on other shows? Of course, my other podcast, Strange Indeed. Me and Rima and Jason are covering Lock and Key Season 2 on Netflix right now. That has been a lot of fun. And then, of course, we're also covering this season/series of Great British Baking Show / Great British Bake Off, depending on where you're watching it. Yeah, we're doing little segments at the end of our Lock and Key coverage on those, and that's been a lot of fun as well. So check out one or both of those. And
but Pake, you do have something else coming on Strange Indeed very soon.
Yeah, we do. Dexter, the new Dexter series is starting very soon as well, like next week. Oh my God, I just realized that. So that'll be fun. So yeah, we will be covering Dexter on Strange Indeed as well. So when that starts up, be checking out Strange Indeed for coverage of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that they will renew my faith in the series because it didn't end in a very good way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Also, another show coming up that I am not covering, but we have some friends who will be. Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time is coming up very soon. And House Podcastica will be covering that with our friends Ben, Wendy, and Greg. And then also you can check out TV Podcast Industries, where Derek and his co-hosts are covering Wheel of Time as well. And they've also been covering Why the Last Man over there also. So check those out. On the Walking Dead cast this week, Jason and Alex talked World Beyond and maybe a little bit of Fear. I haven't listened yet because I have not brought myself to watch this week's episode of Fear to catch up on it yet. I still haven't been able to make myself do it. So, but World Beyond has been pretty decent. So if you're watching that, at least check that out because they've got some really good coverage over on Walking Dead cast for that.
Yeah, I'm interested.
And then finally,
I'm interested in what Alex has to say about Fear.
I already know. No, I'm kidding. Giving him a hard time. And yeah, lastly, our good friend Ben over on the Wilhelm podcast released a special episode today where he is diving in, not super deep, but just a quick review and discussion on a brand new movie, Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. And he had some, if I have to say, personally, I think maybe the coolest guest host he's ever had on that podcast, ever.
I'd have to agree with that too.
Yep, Daphne and I both were on Wilhelm this week, so go over there and check that out if you want to hear more of us. And as we talk Last Night in Soho, super spoilery, not holding back on any of the spoilers. We just really wanted to like nerd out and geek out on that movie. All three of us have seen it in this last week and adored it. So if you know me, you know I am a Edgar Wright super fan. So is Ben. Daphne, I don't know if you've earned the super fan title yet, but we might
I don't think that I have. I don't think that I have. However, being part of the conversation with the two of you was definitely a highlight of my week. It was very fun to be able to talk to you guys and listen to what you had to say as well. I'm excited for the episode to come out.
Yeah. So check that out. It'll be a lot of fun to listen to. Hopefully, if you've seen, and if you haven't seen Last Night in Soho, then stop whatever you're doing and go watch that right now. Go to the theater. Go do it. It's worth it. I promise.
It really is.
All right. But Daphne, why don't you tell everybody what is going on next week right here on Run for Your Lives?
Well, when the idiot son-in-law of a major developer doesn't follow the architect's plans for a new high-rise called the Glass Tower, it's a recipe for dysfunction, chaos, and disaster. We're going back in time to discuss the characters and effects of the Oscar-nominated 1974 classic film, The Towering Inferno. An amazing cast of actors and actresses who are at the top of the movie world at the time, including Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, William Holden, Faye Dunaway, and it is complete with a score by the amazing John Williams. So tune in next week to hear us break that down.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
It definitely is. I seem to remember you were in a particular mood when we covered that movie, when we were recording that episode of the podcast.
I've been in that mood quite a bit lately.
You definitely have. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's a lot of fun. So, with that, we have reached the end of another fun episode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run from a horde of ID7 infected coworkers who killed your best friend Ewan and will stop at nothing to keep you and your new badass ladylove from taking out the Bull, the Reaper, the Siren, and anyone else who gets in your way on your quest to the top floor, you'd better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.